What up, man? It's your big brother K-Rino. Uh, back with y'all again. Friday Night Live has turned into Saturday morning live. So, like I always do, I'm gonna apologize. My bad. My bad. Had to make a move. It ended up not being a move, and it cut into my time. So here I am, showing up at 1 o'clock Central, 2 o'clock on the East Coast, 11 o'clock p.m. on the West Coast, and I have no idea what time it is in Europe. Depends on what part of Europe you're in. Africa, Australia's already into tomorrow. They already enjoying their day in Australia. But nevertheless, once you show up here, we all on the same time because we all here together. We've consolidated ourselves and we would all be here together for the duration. That's the beauty of this thing. This is the beauty of this how this thing works. It's like all different people in places from all different people in different places all over the world in different time zones. It's literally daytime in some parts of the world, nighttime in this part, still PM in this part, AM in this part. And based on those time zones, based on what everybody's doing, where everybody's living, determines what they're doing. Some people are sleeping, some people are just getting up. But when you come on a platform like this, doesn't matter, all that time zone stuff goes out the window. We are now all in one place at one time at the same time. And hopefully, during the course of this conversation, we can all be on the same accord, even if it's just for a little while. So many different opinions in the world, so many differing views and thought processes and all that, that it's refreshing sometimes to be in a situation where everybody's on the same page. Because the first thing that comes out of everybody's mouth is, well, everybody ain't going to agree. And that's a fact. Everybody's not going to agree with each other all the time. And it's okay. See, the problems that we have are not with people disagreeing with us. The main problem is not our disagreements. That's one thing we got to understand about life. The biggest problem is not the fact that we tend to have disagreeing and differing views. The problem is how we respond to people when they disagree with us and how people respond to us when they disagree with us. That's the problem. People can't have a alternate view without it being taken personal, without people getting emotional, without people flipping out because they feel like everybody is supposed to think like they think. It's just the world we live in. But the most beautiful thing is when two or more people can disagree, have a differing view, and they can say, okay, well, you know what? Just what it is. It is what it is. I accept that. And the more beautiful thing is when people who have differences in opinion on certain things, they can stand on whatever it is that they believe in, but they can still take the time out to try to at least get an understanding of what it is you believe in, of your view. I think that is wisdom. I think that's a wise way to live your life. If somebody is an atheist, they say, man, I don't believe in God, man. I just, rather than get emotional, rather than flip out, wow, man, what's wrong with you? Rather you just rather than go crazy on them, I'm curious to know why, how you got to that point. I just want to know why. I mean, how'd you get to that point where that's your view? I'm just curious to know. Hey man, y'all hit the like button for your big brother. Click that like button, man, if you haven't already. I understand sometimes you just come into the chat and you just be in here and you don't be thinking about that. But I want to ask, just humbly ask everybody that's in here right now, to click that like. Just click that little thumbs up thing on there. It's a little thumbs up thing on there. Do your big brother a favor and click that so we can get into the subject. That was kind of like a little intro. Again, I apologize for being on here so late, man, but y'all know I'm a late night person, and although it was not my intentions to come on here this late, nevertheless, here we are. But the title is a continuation of a video that I made earlier today. It's just a different title because I want to keep on pouring more positive energy into you to make us understand our value and make us understand furthermore that we all have a purpose on this planet. Now, we talk about purpose all the time, and everybody always speaks on that and talks about finding your purpose and all this stuff. Okay, yeah, we've all had those conversations. But the reality is that a lot of people go through their whole life without finding their purpose. And there are people who are on that path right now. They are living life right now and have no clue why they are here or what they're supposed to be doing while they're here. Have not been able to tap into what's been deposited into them by the Creator to even start the journey of figuring out how to max it out. And not even max it out, how to even initiate it. So when that happens, we kind of fall into a pattern where we just feel like, I'm just here. I'm just a guy that just, who are you? I'm just a guy that's just hanging around. I'm not really sure why I'm here, but I'm here. But you bigger than that. You just don't know it because you haven't figured it out yet. I want to start off by sending a big shout out and words of condolences to the families of a couple of very important individuals from the city of Houston. Everybody is familiar with the rap group UGK. Doesn't matter where you're from on the planet. Doesn't matter if you're from down south, East Coast, West Coast, Midwest, anywhere overseas. If you are a hip hop fan, if you are a hip hop historian, even an unofficial hip hop historian. And what do I mean when I say an unofficial hip? Meaning that you didn't purposely set out to just study hip hop and study the hit. You didn't set out to do that. You just lived through it. You just lived it. And in living it, you saw that history unfold. So by that, you know it because you was there. And then some of you may be a little younger and you may have picked up from a certain point, but you still hear certain names and you hear about certain events in passing, just over the years, just watching something on TV, hearing somebody in a podcast, seeing these different events where they pay homage to art. You catch these names, you see these people, right? So even if you're not a fan of somebody, you've heard of them. So we've heard of UGK. We know who UGK is. We know who Pimp C is. We know who Bun B is. Well, that was a label that they started out on long before they reached the status that we know them today. The very first label that they were ever on, the very first label to ever sign them when nobody knew who UGK was. Nobody had any, they were just fresh in the game, trying to get on. It was a label called Big Time Records in the city of Houston. The man who started that record label, man by the name of Russell Washington. And Big Time Records didn't start off as a record label. It started off as a record shop where they were selling tapes and CDs and vinyl. It was a record store. And Russell Washington owned Big Time Records. It was in the record shop was in a flea market in a neighborhood in Houston called South Park, King's Flea Market, legendary flea market. If you're from Houston, you know about King's Flea Market. If you're from Texas, you know about King's Flea Market. And he had a record store that he opened in the late 80s called Big Time Records. He was one of the first people to actually take on our music, because I was in a group called COD at the time. This is in the late 80s, going into the 90s, going into the early 90s. And I'll show y'all something real quick. I think I will. I thought I would. I can't find it. I can't see it. I don't see it. I don't see it. But anyway, I was in a group called COD. And back in those days, when you were not on a big record label, when you didn't even have regional or local distribution to get your records automatically placed onto the shelves at the record stores, you would take your music to certain record stores and they would do what's called consignment. If you don't know what consignment is, shout out to Young Stacks Entertainment TV. I appreciate the love and the donation, man. Peace, God. May Allah continue to bless you and your family. May Allah continue to bless you and your family in Ramadan Mubarak. But consignment means that, hey, man, I just dropped this new album. I want to get it in your record store. And the record shop owner or record shop manager may say, all right, well, I'll tell you what, man, leave me 5 of them. Leave 5 of these with me. I'll give you $7 a piece for every one we sell, because I got to make some money too. I'm going to sell it for 15. I give you 7 or 8. When I sell all 5 of them, you come collect your money. So if you sold these 5 for 7, now once they sell, the record store owes you $35. So that's consignment. Russell was one of the first stores in the hood that took on our music on consignment when we were just starting out. And he would call back and say, hey, man, they sold out. Bring me some more. Hey, they sold out again. Bring me 5 more. Bring me 10 more. And his record shop, Big Time Records, was one of the biggest, most legendary record shops in the whole city of Houston, right? And in the region, because once it got popping, people was coming down from everywhere. Fast forward a couple of years later, he decided to want to get into the music industry. In other words, he wanted to take on some artists and try to establish a record label, because he saw other people in the city like us, like Rap A Lot, that were doing the record label thing and was making a little noise with it. I never knew the story of how he discovered UGK, how he discovered Bun B and Pimp C. I never knew the story. I don't even think I even asked him that. All the year, in the 30-some years I know him, I never asked Bun. But it was like I looked up one day and he had these two young rappers. And he said, these are my artists. And this is the label. And the name Big Time Records, that was the name of the record shop, was now the name of the label, the record company. And he was the one to sign UGK and start to push them and start to push and promote those guys. And long before they signed a major record deal, they had a regional hit, an independent hit, with a song called Tell Me Something Good, where they sampled the Rufus and Shaka Khan, the Tell Me Something Good. And the song was all over the radio, and the rest was history. And they sold thousands and thousands of units independent, which at that time, the way the game worked, you would sell an independent label would sell so many units independently without the aid of a major label, and they would do such good numbers on their own that it would attract the attention of a bigger label, who would now contact the smaller label and offer them a record deal. That bigger label, in the case of UGK and Big Time Records and Russell Washington, that label happened to be Jive Records, right? So UGK signed with Jive. Now they're nationwide, worldwide. We won't get into the details of major labels and the business side, all that. That ain't what we on. What I'm on is the fact that this guy, Russell Washington, he was the one that brought us UGK. Now, they had their falling out later on between the artist and the label, but when does that not happen? It happens all the time. So that's not a big deal. That's part of the process. That's like the rule as opposed to the exception. It's very rare that an artist is signed to a label and they have a run and the run ends on a good note. And even if the run ends on a note that was that didn't go crazy and get violent or get ugly, typically there's a dissatisfaction and a disconnect between artist and label, and at some point they part ways. It happens all the time. So that's a non-issue. The point is, he's the one that launched the careers of UGK. Years later, a few years later, if you live in Houston, if you live in the state of Texas, back then, everybody knows now, but back then, you knew who DJ Screw was. DJ Screw, I don't have to go into the history of Screw and all that, but we know DJ Screw was a local DJ who was slowing the records down, chopping it up. He innovated that sound of slowing it down and playing the record real slow, and that was the science of what he did, and it blew up in the city, and then it caught on worldwide. And but long before Screw was doing it in the hood. He was doing it locally. Russell Washington reached out to Screw and was like, hey, Screw, why don't you do a commercial release of one of your mixes? This had never been done in our area before. I can't speak for the rest of the world because I don't know. Screw agreed to release one of his actual mixes as a commercial release on CD and, of course, on vinyl. And the name of that album was called 3 in the Morning. Turned out to be a classic album in our region, still to this day. And it's the first, it's the record that exposed DJ Screw to fan bases that may not have been familiar with him, what he was doing, because Screw was content with just keeping it local. That's the kind of dude he was. Screw was content with keeping it local. He wasn't tripping on trying to just be on this label, and that wasn't his thing. But when Russell convinced him to basically drop a Screw tape that was now in record stores. See, Screw used to sell his tapes out of his house. And there would be lines of people at his house to buy these mixtapes on cassette. Russell took that, and now those screw tapes, those mixes were now on CD. And of course on vinyl, because hey, Screw was an old school DJ. It had to be on vinyl. So now you're talking about two legendary entities, UGK and DJ Screw, all introduced by that man named Russell Washington. So we talk about legacy. Move on a little bit. Or we'll go back a little bit, just a little bit. We'll rewind, because before Screw, he assigned my brothers from the South Park Coalition. Point Blank. Hold on. I know I got this one. I don't know what happened. Can y'all see? Look where this pen is. Y'all see this that record that's pointing, that this pen is pointing to? That vinyl? I'm too lazy to just get up and get it. If y'all want me to get up and get it, just type in "get it," and I'll get it, and I'll bring it closer. If I get 5 people that says "get it," if I get 5 get it's, I'll get up and get it, and I'll bring it closer. I see 3. All right, I get it. Sorry about being lazy, y'all. All right. This record, Mad at the World. This is the vinyl. This is the vinyl copy of this record. This dropped in 1994. This is Russell Washington. This is Russ. This is the CEO of the label. This is the second Point Blank album that was released on Big Time Records in 1994. He had released one previous to that. Now, this guy right here, that's PSK 13, was also on Big Time Records. This guy right here on the end, so my hand blocking him, that's Black. He's with a group called 20 to Life, also on Big Time. If you're from the South, you know these people. You may not know them or be familiar with some of the names if you're from somewhere else. But if you're familiar, if you're on my live, then you know who these people are because you rock with me. The South Park Coalition. But hundreds and hundreds of thousands of copies of this were sold on big time records. Now I got to get up and put it back. But I'm tripping because, man, it's a record missing, man. My records are missing. I'm trying to get some understanding. I'm sorry. Forgot I had company. But the person who is responsible for launching the careers of a lot of people, if they are not an outgoing type of personality, if they are not a person who seeks and chases the spotlight, if they're not a person who, when the shows are performing, they right on stage, like what old buddy say, all in the videos. If you're not that kind of personality, which Russell wasn't, he wasn't. He was cool with just being in the cut. You wouldn't even know who he was. But his legacy, just from the names that I mentioned to y'all, his legacy is set. He's set. Because we know the artists. We always know the artists. But we don't always know the people behind the artists. We don't always know who put the money up. See? The rappers can we can get on TV all day and be like, yeah, man, I started out, man, it was hard. I was trying to make my way and blah, 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 blah. But there was a dude somewhere that shot you 10 grand to help you press up your units. There's a dude somewhere who gave some money to the radio station to help you get some spins. It's a dude somewhere that intimidated some DJs in the club and made them play your single. But these are the people who don't get the recognition that they deserve. See? If they don't chase that. And Russell didn't chase that. So Russell passed away a couple of days ago. And, blessings to his family. I know his family. Blessings to his mother, which it got to be a tough thing for a mother. Russell was a little older than me. So Russell wasn't a baby. But as long as you are alive, doesn't matter how old you get, you will be your mother's baby. So the mother of our brother has lost her son. His children have lost their father. His brother has lost a sibling. But what those of us who know who he was, what we are now on the hook with, what we now have the responsibility of, we have to make sure that we reveal his legacy and keep it going, keep it alive. See, all contributions to this music scene, all of the contributions don't get recognized. And a lot of times they don't get recognized not because people hating and ain't nobody trying to show us no love. It's not always that. Are there elements of that? Yeah. But sometimes it's because the people who know the history, we don't do a good enough job of telling it and uplifting our foundational pieces. Every region has a story. Every region has a chronology, has a timeline that if you go down that timeline, if you go through that chronology, it puts the entire puzzle together of how you got from this point to that point. But somebody got to tell them stories. Somebody got to know their history, and they got to drop it accurately. What up, Adam Gannon? Thank you for the love, man. See, he said morning, big bro. This is, yeah, you know, morning for him. And see, that's a pound up there. See, so he might be, you're in the UK, right, Adam? So this man meant a lot to the city of Houston. Meant a lot, man. When your personality is unassuming, when you're not a boisterous, loudmouth, look at me type of dude or female, then it's a dangerous situation. Not dangerous, but it's a slippery slope when your book is closed, when your life's book is closed, because you can go without any fanfare, without any notice. But if a bigger name goes and it's, oh my gosh, everybody's a big thing, you know, and rightfully so. But we got to uphold those because, like I say, you know the artist, but you don't know the man behind the artist. It takes more than just, oh, I lucked up and found these two rappers who can rap to run a label. It takes more than that. Especially when you're talking about how it used to be back in the days. And what do I mean by that? What I mean by how it used to be back in the days, I'm speaking of in terms of labels. The thing with a label back in the days was to do what? Build a roster. The key was to build a roster. You want to have a list of artists on your label that powers your label. So you got this group, you got that group, you got this guy, you got that artist, this artist, and you dropping them left and right. Big Time Records had a roster. And the proof of the material being great is the fact that 30 plus years later, the material that was released on that label 30 years ago is still selling, still moving. How do, like the classic songs of any genre, how does that stuff continue to still sell? You would think that at this point, everybody got it. But diehards will buy the same project 4, 5, 10 times over the years because stuff happens to your product. You lose it, it gets destroyed, you loan it out and don't get it back. Somebody steal it, breaking your car. So the music we really love, man, you may have bought that album 5 times over the years. Then you go into the digital world, oh, that's a whole nother way to get it. So shout out to Russ, man. Always had a good relationship with Russ. He's a good dude. Now, real quick, because I spent a lot of time on my brother, deservedly so. But real quick, I also want to shout out somebody else who I just got the word that we lost. This is a hood legend. I seen Marty is up in this thing. Marty Mar, you still in here? Marty Mar, you still in here? Because Marty Mar gonna know who I'm talking about. Shout out to the homie Stu Baby. Rest in peace to the homie Stu Baby, man. Y'all might be, who is Stu Baby? Who is that? Well, in the early 90s, I'm pretty confident when I say in the early 90s. Back in the days, I'm going to go back a little bit before that. Y'all know this. There used to be a show that came on TV, I think on Saturday nights or Friday nights. It was called Showtime at the Apollo. It's showtime at the Apollo. And they would have the amateur night at the famous legendary Apollo Theater in New York. And one night, man, one magical night, we was all watching Apollo like we did every week. Everybody watched Showtime at the Apollo Amateur Night every week. And one night, man, we was watching Apollo and we saw two familiar faces walk out on that stage and rub that log. That was the tradition at the Apollo. You had to rub the log. I guess it was for good luck. And the two faces that we saw was the homie Joe and the homie Stu Baby. Straight out of my neighborhood in South Park. Standing on the Apollo stage, getting ready to do a dance routine, right? And let's keep it real, man. I'm gonna keep it 1,000. They didn't take too kindly to people from out of state back in those days when you performed in New York. They just, as soon as they said, where are you from? Oh, I'm from Alabama. Boo! Oh, I'm from Texas. Boo! You didn't get a chance. But one thing I always gave props to them in New York about is that if you got up there and you started handling your business, they would change their tune. They would start, okay, all right, they would reverse and they would give you love. So Joe and Stu Baby came out on the stage, man, and they started performing. Now you got to understand the context. Back in the days, every rapper and rap group had dancers for the most part. I would say 90% of all rappers and rap groups had dancers. Whatever group you was, Public Enemy ain't got no, but they had the S1W, so I guess that was like they dancers. But I don't give a Big Daddy Kane had Scoob Lover and Scrap Lover. The Two Live Crew had the girls. Who else had that? Everybody had that. Most groups had dancers, or the rappers themselves danced. So it wasn't uncommon to just see a dance group, even if they were not connected to a rapper. You would just see dance groups. And there you go, Big Ock, Digital Underground. Big Ock say, yeah, they'll call the Sandman. The Sandman would be on your head if you come out on some trash. Hammer was like the greatest dancer ever, man. Like, oh my God. But Stu Baby, man, and Joe, straight out of H-Town, South Park, Texas. They got on that stage and did a dance routine, and they won at the Apollo, man. These dudes from our hood won at the Apollo. Not one time, not two times, but they won about 3 or 4 times at the Apollo. They would come back I don't know how they filmed, but for like 3 weeks straight, according to what was filmed. I don't know if they did it out on the same day or within the same few days. I don't know how it went down, but they won 3 weeks in a row. And you got to understand how big that was in like the early 90s, especially, like I said, given the context of how hard it was. It's hard for a New York artist to get on the Apollo stage and get some love on amateur night. So that was a major accomplishment, man. A major part of a legacy that now we start to really put into perspective because Stu Baby is gone now. He's gone. So that's the first thing. Well, the second thing that I thought about. The first thing is like, man, the homie is gone. The second thing is like, but you know what? He got a nice, solid legacy to stand on. Now, people say, well, man, it wasn't no money, it wasn't no. Nah, man, legacy ain't always about no bread. It's not always about that. It's about part of your story being so great that it can now serve as an inspiration or an influence to people who may not have ever known you long after you're gone. Something can be drawn from the fact. So if somebody comes along and say, well, you know what, man, I kind of want to do this. I want to dance. I want to try to go audition for this particular. And then somebody say, oh, man, well, you can't do that, man. You from here, man. I said, well, oh, man, no. I know a guy. My dad told me about this guy. My uncle showed me a video of these guys. They was right from the neighborhood I was from. So if they can do it, I should be able to do it too. I can at least try. That's why it's so important to tell the stories, man. Because now Stu can't talk for himself. Now to roll all this up to make it connect to the title of this live stream and the topic that we on tonight is to let y'all know, man, look, don't ever underestimate your own abilities or whatever your potential is. Don't underestimate that, because you could do something that could change the world. Now, in our moments of low self-esteem, when you hear somebody say that, man, I can't do it. What can I do to change the world? I mean, because you view yourself as being small, but you're bigger than what you may have already done something. How many times have you, I don't know how many times y'all do this, but I've had many conversations with people who I just didn't know. I just say, I thought this is a regular guy, man. Guy I know from here, guy I know from the gym and basketball, guy I know from doing this or doing that in the hood. And you have conversations with people, and when they open up and tell you their story, their history, you like, man, this dude is a big deal. This dude did some amazing things in his life. She did some amazing things in her life. But they have been buried by circumstance, by time, by her or him being beat up by life to the point where now the things that they did in their mind are so far in their rearview mirror, and it's so suppressed under whatever hardships they may have fallen under, that they don't even view their own accomplishments as being worth anything until they talk to somebody who may be on a similar path, and then they reveal their story. It's like, man, sometimes it takes other people to make you realize, oh man, you know what, man, I can pop my little collar here and there. Sometimes people got to remind you of your own greatness. And sometimes it's up to you and me to remind other people of their greatness. You have to be able to say, oh, no, man, dude, don't sell yourself short, man. No, you did this, you did that. I don't care if you Al Bundy. You remember Al Bundy? Al Bundy's life was miserable. I say not Ted Bundy. Al Bundy's life was miserable on that TV show. He hated his wife, hated his children, he hated his job. The man worked at a shoe store. But guess what? One thing that man held his head on. It was one thing that Al Bundy always leaned on when times got rough. Come on, KS. I didn't want to say it. Yeah, Lester. He scored 4 touchdowns in one game back at Polk High. And he'll pop his collar on that when needed. And he was proud of that accomplishment. Al Bundy it didn't matter how bad things got. When it was time to bring up the fact that he scored them 4 touchdowns, because that was all he had. But it was in the record books. It was documented. And that was the one thing that through everything, all the misery he was dealing with on a regular basis in his life, hating his life, that was the one thing that they couldn't take from him. So it's a TV show, but it's a principle in that. If we peep the game. So some of us got that one thing that we did. I don't care what it was. It was a man choking in a restaurant one time and you saved his life. You knew how to do the Heimlich maneuver. I don't know. You dove in the pool and saved a little girl from drowning. But don't let time diminish your accomplishments. Don't let people diminish your accomplishments. Because people's perception of what is considered to be greatness or what's considered to be success a lot of times is rooted in the superficial. It's rooted in how much money did he get from it? How many records did he? Oh, he ain't sold no lot of records. You ain't sold as many as him. So you ain't this. You ain't up there with them. How many Grammys you got? That ain't what it's about. Look at his house. And look at your house. It's not what it's about. That's material. That's material stuff. That's cool if you can get it. We all trying to get it. But that's not the end all be all. So people will poison your mind to make you feel like if you are not on that level, then you don't have no value. And that's just not the case. That's just not the case. Because your value is determined by the people in the lives that you touch. And that might be something that the people who you touch, they're not even thinking on a materialistic level. They operate on a different kind of plane as it relates to how they view you. Because what you gave them did something for them that not even you giving them money could have done. Y'all ain't understand where I'm going, man. My homeboy that I hoop with, shout out to my homeboy Q, he was telling me this story the other day to make y'all understand the point of what I just said. We got another homie. All of us, we play ball together. And the other homie, he's a lot younger than us. Probably he's late 30s. We early 50s. So he's considerably younger than us. He's 10 to 12. He's 12 to 14 years younger than us. But, basketball brings everybody, a 55-year-old can be on the court with a 22-year-old in basketball. It brings everybody together. So he was saying how years ago, he said something to somebody else in the gym. He was shooting a slug at this dude. They were trash talking. And sometimes, when you hooping, sometimes the conversation might get a little personal. It might step outside of the boundaries of basketball conversation. So he told somebody else in the gym that he was arguing with, he said, "Oh, shut up, man. I don't have to wait till Friday to go to the mall." Meaning that I don't have to wait to get my check to go to the mall because I have money now. I've saved up. I've taken care of my finances enough now to where I don't have to be paycheck to paycheck just to try to get to the mall. And the little homie heard that and said that changed his whole life. Because it made him think like, man, that make me want to go get money. So I won't have to be dependent and wait on, to be comfortable. So it changed his mindset when he heard that, even though it was funny. So that's what I mean when I say sometimes you can give people something that has a greater value than something material. You can give them a word. You can show them an example, and that will take them further than if you gave him $100 that day. You gave him some game. That's why they say, man, that game, man. Rod Knox, they put that battery in his back. Yeah, the good battery. You didn't put the battery in his back that's gonna make him go out and be a crash dummy. Shout out to Jordan King up in this thing, man. Jordan King in this thing. So y'all have to understand y'all value, man. I don't care if it's as simple as, see, sometimes we get caught up in the feeling of the redundancy of life. You got a wife, a couple of children, Get up, go to work, come home, go to sleep. Get up, go to work, come home, go to sleep. Take care of your family, buy some groceries, pay the rent, pay the mortgage, pay the light bill, pay the car note. And, people say, oh, that's what you're supposed to do. I never really liked when people would make the claim, man, you shouldn't get credit for something that you're supposed to do. Yes, you should. I think you should. Maybe not every day, because yeah, it's something that you're supposed to do. But man, I don't care if it's something that you're supposed to do. Sometimes people need to be shown that they are appreciated. That's just enough motivation to keep people going. You see people just, like I just said, just get up, go to work, come home, go to sleep. Then somebody comes along and just say, man, you know what? Your son sits on your lap and say, Daddy, I really appreciate everything you do for us. Your wife says, baby, I really thank you so much for all that you do for us. It doesn't go unnoticed. That'll give you a whole another shot of energy, man. Because a lot of the problem that we have is the fact that we go through life sometimes feeling unnoticed, feeling unappreciated, feeling like, again, man, I have no purpose. So it's good. And then you never know the timing of saying something. You never know when you say that, how much a person might have needed to hear it in that moment. Never know. Dude might have just been about to just say, forget it. And I'm finna leave my whole family. I'm gone. Nobody seems to appreciate what I do. So yeah, even though you're supposed to do it, that's like working at a job, man. You work at your job, yeah, you're supposed to go to work and work. You know what your job description is. You show up there every day and you go to work and you know that's what you're supposed to do and everybody around. But still kind of cool sometimes if one of the higher ups come and say, hey man, we've been noticed you've been doing a pretty good job, man. This office wouldn't be the same without you. We might get a promotion. I don't know. It makes a difference, bro. Don't tell people they shouldn't get props because that's what he doing what he's supposed to do. Get nobody no credit for taking care of their kids. He's supposed to take care of his kids. Well, in a world where a lot of people don't, you need to give that man a pat on his back every now and then. Because he could have been like the other guy. Come on, man. Hit the like button if you haven't already, man. Don't be so hard on yourself. And if it's warranted that you be hard on yourself, then that means just get it together. Get it together, man. You need that shot in the arm. You playing sports. Many of us played sports growing up. Okay, well, you out there doing what you're supposed to do. But what if you average 30 points a game? Every night you come out there and you knocking, you scoring, you dropping 30 every night. You can hit 5 buzzer beaters, 5 game winners throughout the season. But the coach never says, hey man, great job, son. Great job, man. Man, we really appreciate what you bring to this team. Every time y'all go in the locker room after a win, you done carry the team every night, and the coach never gives you no props. Ever. Because that's what you're supposed to be doing. How would you feel? Like, man, dude here. Dude got 1 rebound and he get the game ball. That rebound you got in the first quarter, that was big. But he never gives you no props. Don't tell me you shouldn't give people credit because it's what they're supposed to be doing. You know how hard it is to stay consistent? Consistency is a skill that people don't get credit for. You know how many inconsistent, trifling, lazy, complacent, lackadaisical people that there are in the world, and they just out there. Every day, man. How many homies y'all got that just could never keep a job? Time they get a job, man, you work about a week and a half, 2 weeks. If they last on that job a month, it's like amazing to you. But then you got that homie, that friend, or it might be you that been working on a job for 17 years. Get up every day. Do greater than what you think you are, man. Everybody is not going to be a rapper. Everybody's not going to be a famous movie star or superstar athlete. Everybody's not going to be that. But everybody has a greatness in them that can be executed, that can be exercised and brought out. Don't let nobody tell you no different, man. All of y'all are great, man. Drop your locations, man. I'm going to swing back and try to read some of y'all's comments that I might have missed. Hold on a second. Sorry about that. We got 80 likes, man. Can y'all give me to 100 likes? Do we got 100 likes up in here, man? I think I went back too far. Let me see. Targeted Individual says, it's like this generation has no direction and I'm lost. I don't even know how to lead my people nowadays. How can we overcome these crooked times? I need wisdom, please. Well, the answer to your question is in the last part of your question. You said, I need wisdom. Wisdom will help us to give this generation direction. Wisdom will show you how to lead your people. See, that's the issue. See, if we're just walking around here trying to wing it and figure it out on the fly, then it's not going to work. We can't lead a generation that we can't connect with. So there's a disconnect between us. I guess you may be part of the older generation. I don't know if you're saying, this generation has no direction, because it's a disconnect. They're not a lost cause. They really are the best generation. But the mechanisms within them have to be unlocked and unleashed and guided in the right direction. But we can't lead nobody if we ain't right. If we're not in a position to lead, if we don't have the qualifications and the skill set in order to lead, then we can't lead them. But wisdom will give you that. See, wisdom will give you that. The application of knowledge is wisdom. Try to catch up with something. Mirror, mirror, you in here? You still in here, mirror, mirror? I'm just not seeing you. Crowman said, imagine the amazing talents who ended up never realizing it in themselves. The stories never told. Man, do you know how often that happens? Bro, it's 8 billion people on the planet. Do you know how many people come and go, man, and they never fulfill that potential, the gift that God gave them? And a valuable contribution was missed out on, and possibly missed out on simply because somebody may have made that person feel like they were small, or that person may have never received the support or the motivation or the backing or the nurturing to enhance that confidence to make them go after that greatness. So yeah, Crow man, you're right. All of us got something that we can bring to the table that can help somebody else, man. Give me 12 more likes if y'all got it in you. Do we got it in you? Gang stalking awareness. We got to talk about this subject. Well, I feel like you mentioned that another time. Gang stalking. And I asked the same question I'm asking now. Like, what is that? Yeah, Lester, I would block your shot. All right, hold on. Let me get these shout outs. Where we at? Galveston, Texas, baptism in the ism up in this thing, man. Show Low, PNW. Jag Sings in Victoria, British Columbia, Canada. Pat Warren in Dayton. All right, Glenn. Big Ock in the South Bronx. The South Bronx. Jimmy out there in Bama. Yeah, okay. Adam in the UK. KS out there in Central Texas. Temple, Texas, man. Temple, Texas. Middletown, Ohio. Is that Genus? Near Boston, Mass. Whoa nah. H-Town, Texas by way of the boot. Yeah, that's that whoa nah. Daniel Torres out there in Rocky Point, Mexico. Connoisseur TV in Trail Paso. I like what you did there. In the 325, Angelo, okay. Anybody else? Where we at? Give me 8 more likes, man. Hit that like button 8 more times if you haven't already. Where are my people from Colorado, man? I'll be in Denver, Colorado. We'll be in Colorado Springs on the 21st and we'll be in Denver on the 22nd of April of this month. Yes, already April, the day of the 1st. And it ain't no April Fool. We will be there. How do you keep from getting discouraged when there are people intentionally suppressing knowledge from you? Then you have to go on your own path. See, we're not living in the day like back in the times of slavery where they could physically withhold books from us. They could physically control the environment that would allow us to learn how to read, learn how to study. There's no possible way that people can keep you from getting to knowledge these days. No possible way. We have to keep on seeking and seeking and seeking and seeking whatever category that we seeking the knowledge in, and understand that the knowledge comes from the Most High. And if we ask Him to grant us the knowledge, the wisdom, and the understanding, it's nothing that an individual can do to block that. They can't block it. They can try. They tried to stop the efforts of the prophets. They had the powers that be that tried to kill the prophets. See, where the prophet is protected by the Creator, and the mission is going to get fulfilled. So there's nobody that can stop us from fulfilling the mission. You know, it would be better to get angry than to get discouraged, because discouragement points to the thought process of hopeless, like I'm not going to be able to get it done. Nah, you can't discourage me. You can throw a roadblock out there here and there, but I'm going to figure out a way around it. Too many avenues for the light to get in. We almost at that 100. Boy, you can do anything. I'm like the preacher in the pulpit. We need a new air condition, y'all. We need $5,000 for this new air condition. We up to 2,500. Does anybody else have anything they want to donate? Up, there go, boom, up. 98 likes. We need 2 more likes. We can get this air condition. We can get this air condition. We need 2 more likes. Yeah. The Godfather needs a new plane for his ministry. Who's going to contribute to help the Godfather get this plane so he can fly to Jamaica and preach on the beach with a drink in his hand? No, I'm just playing. Now, somebody put a like up there and then took it down. I saw 99. Now I'm seeing 98. Which one of y'all snatched that like back? Don't put no money. You can't put no money in the collection plate, then take it out. You can't even ask for change. Big Ock has just contributed to the building fund. We're trying to get the driveway fixed, y'all. The driveway got potholes in it. Got cracks all in the foundation. The building is leaning, man. Big Ock has just contributed $2 to help us get this building fixed. I saw a brand new pair of gaiters at the store the other day, and I need to get those gaiters, y'all. So I'm going to need y'all to donate. No, I'm just playing. I'm just joking. What up, B? 11th Hour Entertainment. Shout out to the homie B, man, out there in Canada. Y'all see 11th Hour Entertainment on the screen, man. That's who brought me out to Canada, man. That's my homie Ben. What's up, B? What it be like? They tried to freeze me out in Canada, boy. Woo-wee, it was cold. It was colder than a woo-ha. And I don't even know what that is. Piper P. King out there in Portland. I missed some of these shout outs. Let me see. So where my people in Colorado at, man? Appreciate the love, B. Lion Zion out there in Canada. I'll be in McAllen, Texas, May the 5th. That's the Rio Grande Valley, right? I'll be out there in McAllen, Texas. My first time coming to McAllen. No one say, what's the building fund? Man, you must not grew up in the black church. The building fund, look, if you grew up in the black church in the hood, the preacher been collecting for the building fund for 40 years, and the building still ain't fixed. Magnetica say the building fund is the fund for the building. But it's like an inside joke, no one, because it's like, you know, when you grow up in the black church, part of the collection is always for the building fund. Yeah, that's all love. No problem. If y'all didn't know, man, I'm on Instagram now. And it's actually me this time. It's not like just a fan page. It's actually me. So y'all go to Instagram. I just put it up. That's my Instagram. Y'all go and support your brother on Instagram. Right over the shoulder right here, y'all see that poster behind me? The comic book. That's my comic book on the wall. The poster to the comic book on the wall. They have a comic palooza that's coming to H-Town May the 26th. And me and the homie Dollar Bill will be in the building pushing and promoting. We'll have a section where we're promoting our comic book. I'll have the information leading up to it so y'all can come out if you in the city and the surrounding areas. Y'all want to come and support your big brother. Come to our table, come to our booth. We want our booth to be popping because we're going to be in there with the big boys. And we little, you know, we some lightweights in the game, you know what I'm saying? We up and coming. But this gonna be like a big event where all the big comic people, the Marvels and the DCs and all the big comic, they're gonna be dressed in, you know, the outfits and all that. So y'all come and support your big brother as well, man. That will be, what up, Dougie Doug? That's gonna be May the 26th. Doug, I'm gonna shoot you the flyer to your email. I'll email you the flyer when we jump off. That's gonna be May the 26th through the 28th. But we're gonna have our own, we got our own section. It's gonna be at the George R. Brown Convention Center. Yeah. Ben said that was supposed to be 55,000, but that was an error. Hey, if you was trying to send me 55,000 and there's an error, we need to correct that tonight. So we can square out by doing the big 77 album project. If I do 77 albums, it's gonna cost more than 55,000. It's gonna cost more than 50. If I drop 77 albums in one day, that's gonna shatter That's gonna break the Canadian. That's gonna destroy the Canadian economy. We're gonna collapse the Canadian economy like the Silicon Valley Bank when everybody went and got their money out. When the people withdrew that $42 billion in like one day. Young Stacks Edutainment TV. Brother, I'm trying to get you to bless me with a verse. And one of is your beautifully creative tracks. I feel I changed the whole world with it. At least I know I changed the minds of the people here in Memphis. So basically, you're trying to get some work. This is what you do. I must put a disclaimer. Serious inquiries only, man. You know, we could do some business, man. Just let me know. I'm putting my email address in the box. You just see my email address should have popped up a couple of comments under yours. And hit me up and let's talk business. We can make that happen. It ain't up to me. It's up to you. Only you can prevent forest fires. Only you can get me on a track on your project. Peace, Lester. You take it slow, man. I'm right behind you. I didn't put the location up, KS, because I don't know it off the dome. But it's gonna be at the George R. Brown Convention Center, May 26th. I don't know the address, but it's the Comic Palooza, the big one in Houston. The big one that they have. And me and Dollar Bill, me and Martial Arts Entertainment, we will be in the building, man, promoting our comic books, selling our books, selling the box. Here's my comic book for those who didn't know. Some of y'all may be new on here and didn't know that your big brother had released a comic book recently. So, and we're getting ready to do a reprint. So the same way that we did we did advertising, we offered advertising. We're doing a reprint. So if you got a project, a business that you want to promote, and you want to get it advertised in the next run of our comic book, hit me at the same email address, and we can make it pop like a shook up soda. All right, y'all. Let me see, man. Before I go, man, let me get out y'all way. All Around Show said you had that email late 90s. Yeah, that's the first email. That's when the internet was invented. I never changed my email, bro. Everybody always laugh at my AOL email, knowing all y'all used to have one. Doesn't matter. The email gets sent. When you send it, I get it. When I send something, you get it. Yeah, Russell Washington did an advertisement in my comic book. That's my brother, man. That's why I had to give him that dedication at the beginning of this live. Without a doubt. Just because I still got my AOL email, that don't mean that I'm still y'all remember dial-up? That dial-up was woo. That dial-up was a problem, boy. You remember when if you was on the internet and somebody called your phone, it would kick you offline? Y'all remember that? You had that dial-up, you hear that little sound. Somebody call your phone when you're on the internet and kick you right offline. Air Teeth said 45 minutes to upload a song. Everybody can still hear it connecting. Adam Monarch said, I can hear it connecting now. You'll never get that out your mind if you from that era. Dial up, boy. Whoa, the good old days. 56K on them, boy. L. Jackson, what up, man? When's the next project? My homie Ben is in the building, man. We did a whole album in Canada that will be dropping in the summertime. So what we looking at, Ben? What, like May? Yeah. Be heated if you downloading something. Yeah, because you gonna answer that phone. You about to go off on whoever just called you in the middle of your internet experience. You about to go off. Yeah, man. July. We'll be dropping it in July, y'all. See that we telling our age up in here now with these old school dial-up conversations. Yeah. Mr. Jack, have you ever thought about acting? Yeah. You know, I feel like I have some thespian skills. I said thespian. Connoisseur could make a beat and rap to the AOL internet connecting sound. I'm surprised nobody did that yet. Is there still a callback number to test your phone? Wow. Woo, I bet you wanted to cry. 90% done with a movie and got kicked off. Ooh, man, you can't even control it neither, man. You be at the mercy. Wow. I've never seen a John Wick movie in my life. Never seen it. Hey, man, y'all remember what I told y'all tonight? Don't let nobody fool you into thinking that your contributions are not valuable. Don't ever let nobody make you feel like you're less than. Didn't have a lot of females in here tonight, but I really wanted to relay that message to them because a lot of times, you know, you they get in those abusive relationships, and guys take shots at their self-image and tell them how ugly you are and how this you look this, you look that, but they with you though. He telling you how bad you are, but he won't leave you though. See, he's doing that to try to destroy your self-image. Don't fall for that. Oh man, send me the link again, Doug, because I didn't want. I've seen other previews of it. I just didn't have time to watch it. I didn't watch it. But that was my guy, man. Mahmoud was my guy. If anybody wanted to know, like, of course, you know, Steph is Steph, but he was like a precursor to Steph Curry as far as the way he moved, the way he dribbled, the way he quick release, the way he could get hot. We had already seen that when Steph Curry came along. As a matter of fact, early comparisons of Steph were to Mahmoud Abdul Rauf. It was like he reminded you of Mahmoud. When is the SPC album dropping? Probably around, what is this? April, May. Probably around June. Probably around June, I want to say. Yeah. Appreciate that, L. All right, man. I'll catch y'all later, man. Peace and love.